Hello and good evening to this one more episode of Q&A with Coach Val. Thank you so much for being here. And in today's Q&A, I'm going to answer three important questions. The first question that I'm going to answer is what to do when your wife is asking for divorce. There are a lot of men across India and the globe are going through a process of divorce and they're totally lost. There are organizations, there are places which misguide people. So, what do you need to do? And whatever I'm going to share is from my experience of helping men who were going through a divorce process and how they have brought back love from the verge of divorce. The second question that I'm going to answer this evening is how to use the discussion about maintenance during the divorce process to bring you closer. What do? If you're able to hear me clearly, if you're able to see me clearly at this moment, before I go to the third question, write in the chat box all clear. Just write all clear in the chat box and just write hi in the chat box if you are able to hear me and see me clearly. So let me go to the let me go to the third question. The third question that we have for this evening is, will apologizing to my wife in front of the judge make the judge think that I am at fault or reduce my chances? Because suppose if I'm apologizing in front of the judge and judge is looking at me and the judge thinks that, oh, this person is wrong, then what's going to happen? He will give the verdict in favor of the wife. So if you have that question, if you have that thought, here in this particular Q&A, I'm going to answer your question. Thank you, Girish. Good to have you. Ajinkya, awesome. All those who are here, just write hi in the chat box. Good to have you. Thank you so much. So let me start with the first question. The first question is, let me come here. The first question is, what to do when your wife is asking for divorce? All right. So let's understand this. Let's separate the myths from the truth. So generally, when a man is going through a divorce process, he has thoughts in his mind, and these thoughts go something like this. We are going through a divorce process because my wife doesn't want to adjust with my family. We are going through a divorce process because my wife is having an affair. We are going through a divorce process because my wife's parents are interfering in our marriage. Now, all these are myths. Because what our brain does is that when we are having unpleasant experiences, it looks for a reason why. And it generally looks for a reason outside of ourselves. So when you're talking about, let's look at the myths very quickly. The problem in my marriage, because of which the divorce is happening, because my wife is not able to cope with my parents. So if it is true, then all those people who live in a nuclear family, who don't have in-laws around them, should have a great marriage. But we have, in our community of awesome husbands, we have men who are going through a divorce process, but they were living alone. Let's look at the second one. Her parents are interfering in your marriage. In other words, they want the divorce to happen. They want the divorce to happen. Let's dive deep into it. Put yourself in the place of a father or a mother. Would you get your daughter married to somebody hoping and praying that after 5 years she will be divorced, and you will do everything possible to make sure that she divorces? You'll not do that. But her parents want her to get divorced. I'm going to talk about why. But the myth is they're not interfering because they want to interfere. The third one is affair. She had a boyfriend before marriage. She had all these things. Even after marriage, she was friendly with somebody else. The truth about affairs is this. This is me. This is my wife. If you are here, there's nobody who can get in between us. There's nobody who can get in between us. But if there is a gap, then even a milkman can get between us. You don't need her colleague to get between us. Okay? So that's one more. The fourth one is that I missed out earlier is the situations in our life. Like, for example, everything was fine between us, but at one point I lost my job, or she lost her job, or we went through COVID, and that's what the problem was. She couldn't adjust to the financial condition. Not at all true. The reason being, let me bust this myth by giving you an example. Let's assume that this couple gets 1 crore rupees in a lottery. when they get 1 crore rupees in a lottery, the question is, will they stop fighting or they will stop fighting about the money? What do you think? The first or the second? Write in the chat box, write in the comment section. Will they stop fighting or they will stop fighting? They will stop fighting about money or they will stop fighting? The answer is they will stop fighting about the money. The answer is first one. They will continue to fight. If you want to fight in your marriage, you don't need big things. You can fight over small things, like the toilet seat, whether it should be down or up, the cup, whether it should be scrubbed with this particular scrubber or that particular scrubber. After dinner, how the plates should be kept, how the cups should be kept. You can fight about a whole lot of things. You can go for a movie and come back home and fight about who did a better acting. So you don't need these things to fight about. So then what is the reason for divorce then? There's only one truth. The truth is this. Marriage goes through 3 stages. The first stage is romance stage. You would have heard me talking about it hundreds of times. So romance stage, power struggle stage. Now power struggle stage is like a toothache. Okay, it is like a toothache. And when there is a toothache, what do you want to do? The first thing you want to do is try to fix it. But we don't have enough dentists for this toothache. So you don't know who to go to. So you go to your friends, you go to your relatives. I'm talking about your wife because she's applying for divorce. So let's say your wife goes to her friends, she goes to her parents, and all these people give her advice that only worsens the decay, the cavity. And then she says, I can't bear this pain. I can't bear this pain of toothache. And that's where she thinks about extracting the tooth. And the person who extracts the tooth is obviously the law, the lawyer, the judge. So what you need to do is not stop her from extracting the tooth. What you do is help her to heal that the tooth. And how do you do that? Through yourself, through your behavior. Every action that you do gives her a feeling that there's a shift in him. This evening, we have a community called Loveathon. It's the highest form in our community called Loveathon. It's a Loveathon challenge people go through. It's also called a diamond membership. And in that diamond membership, one of the awesome husbands wrote a beautiful message about how his grandmother expired. He and his wife went for the funeral to the place where she had said that I will never ever set my foot on. At once upon a time, she had said that I'll never come back to your town. Never. She went back. And the last line of his message was beautiful. We have moved from divorce to no divorce to connecting. How did that happen? Did he beg her? Did he convince her? No. It was the change in him. The only way you can change is to learn relationship science. I'm going to talk about it a little later, about how you can begin this journey of learning relationship science. So if this is clear, write super clear in the chat box. Write super clear in the chat box. There's one interesting thing one of the men have written. If she wants divorce, give the divorce. That's an easy way out. But think about yourself. What will you do next? The next thing that will happen to you is you'll say to yourself, she wanted divorce, I gave her. Now, after 1 or 2 years, your parents will come to you and say, how long are you going to be staying alone? Why not get married? And you'll get married again. What happens? The same thing will repeat. The same thing will repeat. And it's about the second divorce, people suddenly wake up saying to themselves that, why is it happening only to me? And they have 2 choices. One, learn relationship science and find out how their action is creating this pattern in their marriage, or get into that pattern again and go through the pain. Every divorce, every separation brings in a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and it is unnecessary suffering. We get into this suffering because nobody has taught us relationship science. Once you learn relationship science, things become much easier. Thank you so much for writing that. Thank you so much. So let's go to the next question. Good to have you, Nirmit. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go to the next question. The next question is, how to use the discussion about maintenance during the divorce process to bring us closer. Now, this is a very good question. The and this is generally asked by, now all these questions are asked by members of the community, okay, of Awesome Husbands Hub. So so this person has got into the program. He has understood that there is nothing wrong with his marriage. They're just stuck in power struggle stage, but they are going through a maintenance. Like, the final phase of this divorce process is happening. He wants to come closer, and then there is a part of him saying, the people around him saying, how do you save money? How do you save money? How not to give her money? How to, you know, fight this out? So the first thing to ask in this case is, what do you really want? What do you really want? If you want money more than the relationship, you got to make a clear decision. What do you want? If it is money more than the relationship, please do not follow whatever I'm going to say, because you might lose some money. But the truth is, if you look at it, they say that money is the easiest thing to get back. It's the health and the relationships. They're not easy to get back. They take time. So let's assume that it's not the money that is important. It is the coming closer is important. You want to use this as an opportunity. If you want to use this as an opportunity, then here are a couple of things. The question that you got to ask is, why is she asking for maintenance charges? Why is she asking for alimony? And there are two reasons that will come to your mind. The first one is, anybody write in the comments, what do you think is the first one? What do you think is the first one? Is it that she had a plan? She had a master plan of getting married to you. She had said to herself that I am going to get married to this guy. I'm going to have a child after 3 years, and then I'm going to fight with him. And after about 10 years or 15 years, in our 40s, let me go for a divorce. And let me hire the best lawyer possible and get some money out of him. And I'm going to be rich and famous, not famous, but rich, and I'm going to live happily ever after. Do you think that would have happened? What do you think? Write in the chat box. Do you think that would have happened? Master plan. Her parents got together and made this master plan. What do you think? Yes or no? It looks like that. Sometimes it feels like that. It looks like that. The answer is no. So why is she asking for this 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, sometimes 30 lakhs? The two reasons. The first one is she is hurt. When people are hurt, they hurt the person who has hurt them. That's the rule. When people are hurt, they hurt the person who has hurt them. And the people who join them in hurting the person is sometimes the lawyers. That generally happens. So you want to hurt that person. The person doesn't want to file a case against you. The person doesn't want to extract money out of you. But then when lawyers join, because when there is money involved, the people around get benefited. There are lawyers who tell you that you don't have to pay me anything. Give me 20% of the alimony that comes in. Have you heard of these things? I'm nothing against, I have high respect for lawyers, but there are some. In every field, in every profession, there are some. So what happens in these cases is that hurt is exaggerated and the fuel is added to fire. Now she asked for money. So this is the first reason. The second reason why people ask for money in lump sum is because of the fear. Because of the fear. She's scared that she has a 7-year-old daughter. She's scared that how will she manage? How will she take care of her? She has to send her to college. How will she do it? How will she? So the fear is, once you leave her, you will move on and get married to somebody else, and that's the end of you. She will never ever get to see, because of the fear. She's asking for money in lump sum. We have a man in a community, very interesting love story. They were in love for 5 years. She went against her family, got married to him. They were married for 5 years or 6 years. They have a child, small child, and she applied for divorce. And he got into the program. He started understanding that why she has done this. And then there were 27 complaints which were put against him. And then he started working on thinking about what will happen to her after they are divorced. How will she take care of the child? How will she take care of her? Where will the money come from? So when he started a small business, part-time business, I think he was putting money into somebody else's business. I'm not very sure, but he made sure that that money goes to her. Now look at this person's kind heart, and because of that, things started changing, and she started coming back. Now, having said that, just doing this will not help. There are many more factors. It is not one big work of kindness will change anything. It's like, if I have hurt my wife over the last 5 years and today I buy a 10 lakh diamond necklace, do you think she will forgive me for hurting her for the last 5 years from her perspective? Yes or no? I bought her a 10 lakh rupee diamond necklace. So it's not one kind action that changes everything. It is a lot of culmination of a lot of things. So this is the answer for your question about maintenance. Ask yourself, what do you want? The second question is, why is she asking? The answers are, she's hurt. And when you're taking care of her, the hurt will go down. The second thing is she's scared. So even the fear will go down. Also, the last question. The last question is, will apologizing to my wife in front of the judge make him think that I am at fault or reduce my chances? So, first thing to ask yourself is, why are you apologizing? There are two reasons why people apologize in the court. One is because they think that they are right, but they want to appear like heroes and say to the world, I said sorry also, but she didn't want to come back. One reason. The second reason is you're apologizing in front of the judge because you have understood the pain she has gone through. Not that she has not hurt you. I'm not saying that. In power struggle, we hurt each other. We are like, I use the word asuras. I am an asura, she's an asura in power struggle stage. We hurt each other. But when you get out of the victim mindset from the power struggle, you start looking at the situation from her perspective, and you start looking at things from how she is hurt. And when you start looking at it from her, how she is hurt, and from there you are expressing your apology, people can pick it up. Judge is not a fool. Is he or she is very smart. She has seen more than enough couples out there. She can read people. You don't have to be a judge. You don't have to be an expert. You can sense the emotion behind people's words. You can sense that. So when the judge is hearing you and your apology is just naam ke waste, it's not coming from your heart, obviously he or she is going to think that you are at fault. But if it is coming from your heart, the judge will say, you should give, I think you are trying to bluff this man. I think you should give him some time. You should spend time. We have a man in our community, very interesting. He was in front of the judge, and just through his behavior, the judge could pick up that, of course, this person has hurt her, but now he is changing. So in fact, the judge told the wife that you should spend 1 week with him. And now the things are slowly changing, slowly shifting for them. So that's the answer. So when you're doing this, let it come from your heart. Let it not be superficial thing. And if it is superficial, pick it up. If it is from the heart, the judge will pick it up. And having said this, in order to get deeper into moving from this whole idea of power struggle, the fights, the argument, the divorce, to a next level of connection, understanding, you got to learn. Because it's like this. In NLP, years ago, I learned NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And in neuro-linguistic program, there is a simple rule. The rule is, if you do the same thing in a same way, you get the same results. And that's the biggest mistake a lot of people do. They get married, they do things in a particular way, they get separated, they get divorced, Then they get married to somebody else. They do the same things in the same way. They get divorced, get separated, get divorced. So the behavior repeats. And then they wonder, why am I meeting the wrong people? No, you're not meeting the wrong people. So in order to do things differently, you got to learn different things. And one of the things you should learn is relationship science. And what does relationship science include? The first thing relationship science includes is understanding micro behaviors. What are the micro behaviors? It's not the big things that destroy a marriage. It is the small things. It's the micro things. These things take few seconds. And when I do it consistently over a period of time, there is a compounding effect. So micro behaviors. The second thing you got to learn is your personality type and the other person's personality type. Because when we get married, let's say you buy a machine, forget about human being married. You buy a machine and you don't know how to operate a machine. You're going to break it. You're going to break it. So the second thing you got to understand is you got to understand the other person. Understand her personality type because she's different from you. The other thing you got to understand is you got to understand yourself. Because the biggest mistake we make is that we think that the whole world thinks like us. How many of you have felt that way? Just write me in the chat box in the comment section. You felt that the whole world thinks like us, and when the whole world doesn't think like us, we get confused. Like, how is it possible? How is it possible? I like the house to be clean. Now, why doesn't my wife understand that? Or I want to go out, have fun. Why can't my wife understand that? But that's the difference. You're married to somebody who has a different personality type. So the second thing you got to understand is personality type. The third thing is communication. It is not what you say that destroys your marriage. It is how you say and when you say what you say. You can say anything. With Pallavi, I share almost everything. Everything. The things that I don't like, the things I like, the things I enjoy, the things I don't enjoy, I share everything. But does it lead to fights and arguments? No, it is the way you communicate. And when you communicate, that is also important. So if you're interested in learning these things, if you want to know more, and if you want to have a conversation for a limited period of time, if you want to have a conversation, then I invite you to go to, if you're part of the community, I don't think you need it because you're part of the community. And of course, if you're a diamond member, you don't need this because we are always connected. If you're not, then you can go to coachval.co. Go to www.coachval.co and watch a 20 minutes video where I talk about power struggle, mature love, romance stage, all these stuff. And once you have done that, you'll get a button below the video to book a session. All right, you can do that. Now, before we leave, every Thursday, I do a live session every Thursday. So this is episode number 3. And if you want to attend episode number 5, this is episode number 3. That's right. If you want to attend episode number 4, please go to the subscribe button. Click on that. Click on the bell icon because as soon as I put up the notification for the upcoming live session, you will get a notification. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much for being here. Before you leave, go to the chat box or the comment section and write over there what's the one biggest learning that you had. And when you write that, it will also help me to reach out, or this video will be shown to many more people. So please go to the comment section, write down what's the one biggest learning you had. And not only that, I invite you to like this video if this was useful for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll see you next Thursday with 3 more questions. Until then, as always, keep your love story alive. Your love story with yourself, first of all, the love story with your wife and people around, and your love story with the whole of nature. God bless each one of you. Take care and bye-bye.